to make the point that we're still in a pandemic and we're still in the emergency stage. We have not hit endemic stage yet. And so we still should be doing all the things we talked about before. I know people are starting to relax, and CDC included, relaxing their rules. But if we can keep in mind that in relaxing the rules, other things also end up circulating. So going back to 2020 when everyone was wearing masks and we had the lowest rate of influenza ever because of people wearing masks and people keeping their distance and wiping things down, and like all the infectious disease precautions were taken. And that is what is ideal. Not necessarily have to wear a mask to do it, but if that's what it took, for some of us, that was worth it. I used to work in the flu division at CDC, and I actually was the one that helped count the circulation of influenza across the city or across the country. It's the 52 week report, and I used to actually calculate those those numbers, and so I still pay attention to that kind of thing. And that's something I always think about and process. Like COVID saved us from having a whammy of a situation with people possibly dying from COVID as well as the flu, because people still do get the flu and they get a bad case of it. So, when I think about that now, I'm thinking wearing a mask is not the worst thing in the world. Not for me. It's just not. If it's going to keep me safe and keep other people around me safe, my mom can be here longer, my dad can be here longer, my godmother can be here longer, then that's the least I can do. And that's how I just see it in that way.
I would totally second that, Ericka. I mean, it was a very impressive thing to look at how much we obliterated influenza when we actually did all those things. I looked at it and I said, we spend billions of dollars on flu vaccines, but if we just get everybody to wear a mask from November to April, we could probably skip the flu vaccines, but we're not there yet. And I too, I wear a mask all day, every day at work. I still mask to go to church. I still mask to go to the grocery store. I don't always mask if I'm going in somewhere for 5 minutes to pick up my books from the library on the hold desk or something like that. But if I'm going to spend time in a place with more than 2 or 3 people, I do mask. Because we still are seeing COVID transmission, and we'd like to see it go away. We worry about every time it transmits, it has the opportunity to mutate and see a more virulent strain come along, and we haven't stomped it out yet. And the CDC's current way of saying whether we're high, medium, and low, that really isn't the best guide for whether you personally are at risk. That's a guide for whether your community is at risk of having their health system collapse. If you yourself don't want to lose your paycheck because you have to be off work, be more conservative than what that guide is saying. There's also one, what is it, Ericka, the community level, and then there's the transmission level. And I look at the transmission level, and if it's still high, in the red, I'm like, no, I'm going to put that mask on still.